This is my audience for my persuasive speech, which is for any woman to have the right to an abortion. According to Gutmaster Institute, approximately 862,000 women had an abortion in the year of 2017. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, an abortion is defined as a termination of pregnancy after, accompanied by, resulting in, or closely followed by the death of the embryo or fetus. Now I know that there are negatives to getting an abortion, as there are positives and negatives to anything you do in life. But when it comes to an abortion, I hope to first educate and inform you on what an abortion actually is. Second, I want you to try to understand and step into these women's shoes to see why they make this choice and why it's better to have this option than have an unwanted child brought into this world. Thirdly, these women who chose to get an abortion have to live with the guilt other people put on them. Or if they are guilted into keeping her child due to whatever reason, she is either bringing an unwanted child into her life or that the child is going to be another kid in the foster care system who doesn't get to fulfill the life that they deserve to have. According to the Gale Encyclopedia of Children's Health, an abortion can be an elective, which is a woman's personal choice to end her pregnancy. Or it can be therapeutic, which is when an abortion is performed to save the life of a woman. An elective abortion is when it's the mother's choice to end the pregnancy due to reasons other than maternal or fetal health. This type of abortion can take place for many reasons. On the other hand, a therapeutic abortion can take place to preserve the health of or save the life of a woman. Healthcare providers tend to recommend this when the fetus is diagnosed with a significant abnormality or health conditions that is expected not to live, or if the fetus has died in the utero. This type of abortion may also be used if the woman has a pregnancy-related health condition that puts her life to risk. No matter the type of abortion, there are many reasons as to why a woman would seek an abortion. And no matter what the reason is, no person has the right to judge their choice. You have no idea what happened to them or why they're making this decision to get an abortion, and it should stay that way because there's always their choice. Even though I believe that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages of getting an abortion, there are some disadvantages. According to the Gale Encyclopedia of Children's Health, some of the disadvantages of a medical abortion include the effectiveness decreases after the 7th week, so there is a limited amount of time you have to make your decision. The procedure may require you to make a visit to the doctor multiple times to complete the procedure. There is bleeding, and it can last a long time after the procedure is complete. And lastly, it can be a traumatic experience for the possibility of a woman seeing the contents of her womb being expelled from her body. Those disadvantages can carry a pretty heavy weight, but I believe an abortion can also take the weight off a woman after her pregnancy is aborted after her pregnancy is aborted as well. Along with that, some other advantages of a first trimester medical abortion include it is non-invasive procedure, which means there are no surgical instruments used. Anesthesia is not required. The woman is able to feel relief if this was an unwanted or unattended pregnancy, and she is able to remove unwanted pressure and stress from her life that she may not be ready or not want at all. Abortion is legal in all 50 states, and that's thanks to 1973 Supreme Court case Roe v. Wade, which is proved to be one of the most controversial cases in the court's history according to the Reader's Companion of American History. Roe was a woman in Texas who was denied the right to have an abortion. She used the state, and the case made its way to. She sued the state, and the case made its way to Supreme Court, where the ruling was 7-2. The woman had an unrestricted right to abort a fetus during the first trimester of their pregnancy. Even after the case, some women are still faced with the disappointment of their families if they ever find out or if the decision was made for them to keep the pregnancy. So they feel they have to take matters into their own hands, and they perform an at-home illegal or unsafe abortion on themselves with the help of someone else. These women feel they have no other way out just because their family or strangers feel the need to put their own opinion into it and just make the decision for them. Some methods that are used to perform an illegal and unsafe abortion include drinking substances such as bleach, inserting objects into the vagina like a coat hanger, inserting herbal preparations into the vagina, or jumping off something from a high height, or intentionally falling down a flight of stairs. A woman should never have to go through the pain of keeping an unwanted pregnancy or the pain of an unsafe abortion because of someone else's beliefs. Those kinds of abortions shouldn't have to be an option. These abortions are often performed in unclean and unsanitary environments by untrained or poorly trained individuals. A lot of the time, these result in infection, maternal death, and compromised fertility. They feel they have no other choice but to put themselves in harm's way because of someone else making their life-changing decisions for them, and it may cost their own life. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, they should have thought about it before they had sex, or, well, they shouldn't be having sex in the first place, or whatever else they believe. The only thing I have to say is, sex is a natural thing. It's in our human nature, and everyone has the right to do what they want with their body as they please. According to the Cambridge Dictionary of Christian Theology from Cambridge University, the World Health Organization estimates that about 70,000 women die every year because of an illegal and unsafe abortion. The World Health Organization also says that unsafe and illegal abortions are more of a major public health problem in developing countries more than the United States, but that doesn't detract anything from my point. More than half of all abortions performed in developing countries are considered unsafe by the World Health Organization, while less than 10% of abortions performed in developed countries are considered unsafe. According to the World Health Organization statistics, a woman dies every 8 minutes somewhere in a developing country from complications of an unsafe abortion. No matter where you live, a woman should have the choice what to do with her body as it fits for herself, and make the decision on her own. Now that you have become educated on what a safe abortion is and what an unsafe illegal abortion can do to a woman's body, let's talk about what happens to a child after it is born into an unwanted family or tossed into the foster care system. According to the Marshall Meadoff from the Department of Economics, California State University in Long Beach, California, children are worse off in foster care because they are born to no one wanting them and they have no one to provide for them and care for them. Pro-life states that all women having a baby and putting them in foster care, if they decide they don't want it, aren't ready to care for the child themselves. But where are the pro-lifers when the child has no one that truly cares about them, or just plain can't afford to care for their health, their education, and their physical and emotional well-being after their birth? These pro-life states are the states with most anti-abortion policies, and these are also the states that are least likely to support the health and well-being of children after birth. Their efforts to protect the life of that fetus ends the day they are born. Now I have never been put in a position where I've had to make this decision like that, but I do know that if I were ever in that situation, I would want to know all my options and not be influenced or guilt-tripped by closed-minded people who don't know how to mind their own business. I feel that the people that are closed off to abortions chose not to see the advantages, and even in that case, or it isn't a woman, or it isn't. A woman does have the right to choose, and I don't see that changing anywhere near in the future. I hope that today I've opened your eyes a little bit more and helped you understand why this choice is up to a woman completely, and that there are some advantages to having the right to have an abortion.